is Up for Grabs, a podcast where three unfiltered friends talk about anything and everything. And now, here are your hosts, Tracy, Kim, and Rachel.
Welcome to Up for Grabs. I'm Rachel. I'm here with my friends, Kim.
Hello.
And Tracy.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Today, we're talking Barbie. All things Barbie. All three of us have seen the movie, the Barbie movie. All three of us have played with Barbie dolls back when we were little.
Yep.
So we are kind of experts at this point.
Yes.
About Barbie. Let's first talk about when I went to see the Barbie movie. It was the beginning of the month. And Tracy, you just saw it yesterday. So I said I was happy that it was fresh in your mind.
Right.
Because I forget stuff. But my experience, you went by yourself.
Yes.
My experience was a little different. I went with my mom,
Mm-hmm.
who's 82, and my daughter, who's 21. And then there's 53-year-old me. So with these generations, I thought there was going to be this really, really interesting back and forth conversation about the themes of the movie.
Right.
Because I thought, my mom, coming from the generation that kind of was expected to be educated, but also expected
To be a homemaker.
to get married, have kids, keep the home, like the whole thing. I thought, boy, this is going to be a delightful moment where she and Lillian talk about how far we've come. And
It was going to be like a Virginia Slims ad, but different.
Deluxe Ultralight Menthol. Yes. Not that I love those. No, I'm sorry. I
That's
wasn't.
Benson and Hedges.
Thank you.
Sorry. Go
Thank
on.
you. I wasn't Virginia
grief.
Slims. It was
I didn't
Benson
smoke,
and Hedges.
So.
Vagina slime. Go on.
Did you?
Wow.
Whoa.
No,
Whoa.
no one called it that except you. That was just.
So I guess you also didn't call
What is it?
noble romance. Noble scrotum.
No one.
We talked about that before.
Yeah, you said that.
On
Tracy,
one of our
you
first
said
podcasts.
Funny every
you
time.
said normal scrotums, and you made
And
it
I've
seem
never
like
heard that before.
everyone said that.
No.
Well, anyway, vagina slime is. I'm
Wait a
sorry.
minute. Why? How did that even come up?
Because
we were
said-
talking about
You said
cigarettes.
you've come a long way, baby moment with your mom and daughter, and that was the slogan for Virginia Slim women's cigarettes
Oh,
in
I
the
didn't know.
70s.
I didn't know that's where that came from.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was Virginia.
Well, dear
Slims.
God, I really sounded like I didn't know what I was talking about, but it was
She just
all
wanted to be.
there.
You just wanted to be nasty.
It's a circular.
She just wanted to say it. And now you got to say it. Are you happy?
kind of.
Okay, so wait a minute. What was I talking about?
That you thought Lillian and your mom.
So we were
would-
going to have a moment. My mother. And so we get out of the Barbie movie and we're walking to the car, and I turn to my mom and I say, so what'd you think about the Barbie movie? And she just kind of she didn't say anything for a second. And she said, oh, it was good. I liked all the pink, that was, and the sets, that was cute.
It was aesthetically pleasing.
And she said, and Ryan Gosling was adorable, because she's a huge Ryan Gosling fan. That's really the only reason she went. And I go, but no. Well, I go, well, yeah, I agree with that. But no, but about the themes, like what it was talking about. She was like, huh?
Oh.
I go, so you didn't none of those kind of resonated with you, like the whole struggle of being a woman, when you were younger and growing up? No. I'm like, well, this conversation got really short because as we were walking out, Lillian was wiping tears.
So, and I've got some thoughts on that.
Help me, because I'm somewhere in the middle.
To me, it makes sense because our moms were just happy to have not even a seat at the table, because they didn't have a seat at the table, but they had a seat.
They could see the
in
table.
the kitchen. They could see the table. They were happy for that because that was progress from the generation before them.
True. Absolutely, yeah.
They aren't we've had time to look back and see the changes and be pissed They weren't pissed because they were happy to have it. And we're like, no, we're not happy to have it. We should have it. We should have had it. You should have had it.
Correct.
So that's where the piss comes in. And I think that there's a difference between those that are first to get there and are just excited to be there and working hard to prove that they are worthy to be there. And now we're like, we don't have to prove that we're worthy to be anywhere. We should be there because we are. We exist, and therefore our seat is next to your seat or above it.
Preach, Barbie. Yeah. No, I'm with you.
No, I agree too.
So I think you hit on something that I feel like we, being of the certain age that we are, 50-ish, was really the target audience for this movie.
No, I agree. I definitely think it was.
Because you're right. Lillian was crying and been like, girl power, girl boss, ready to take on the patriarchy and that's the mindset of that generation of people, and that's wonderful. My mom was on the side of, that's just the way it was. She's like, her thing was like, I wanted to be a teacher. And I said, well, it's probably good because you could either be a teacher or a nurse or a secretary, and that's pretty much it. She goes, that's true. She's like, but I wanted to be a teacher, and I wanted to get married, and I wanted to have kids. She's like, I never felt like anything, I was forced to conform to something I didn't want to conform to, because those were things that I wanted.
Right.
And I, being 50, was angry because I saw it and I could appreciate where my mom was to where I started growing up. And then from that point to where Lillian is, I got angry. I was like, I don't see enough progress. I'll admit there is lots, there are tangible things that have happened that are in the right direction. But I was mad because I feel like men's behavior in the workplace, in general, in society, hasn't necessarily changed as much as I think it should have. And it made me mad. And it's kind of like leaving Lillian's generation holding the bag to really do something about it.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think everyone in our generation will have seen it or will see it the same way. We are all mothers of daughters. Mm-hmm. So I think mothers of daughters see it one way. I think people without kids at all will see it another way. And I think mothers of only sons will see it a third way.
How will the mothers of sons see it?
From what I understand, the idea is not to tear down men. It is that we should all be equal, have an equitable chance at this. Whatever that may look like, whatever the equitable opportunities look like. I think mothers of sons see it as taking opportunities from their sons. And that is not the goal. The goal is to give opportunities to the girls.
Well, I think one thing that the Barbie movie did do, because when I went into it, I wasn't really even quite sure what it was going to do, what it could possibly even be about. But one thing that I thought was interesting was that it wasn't bashing men. In fact, the thing that I thought was interesting and well done about it is at the end, when Ken is in his Mojo Dojo Casa house and he's all upset, and she comes in and she comforts him and encourages him. I'm like, look at her having to, really? She has to do everything. But like encouraged him to go find out who he is, to be someone other than the person that's with Barbie, like saying you can do anything. You need to go find who you are and then come back. I'm like,
some mothers of sons did see it as bashing men. You didn't, because that's the lens you looked at it through.
I thought it was a little over the top. I think that I was talking about it with my 21-year-old daughter, and I was saying I felt like it was the beginning of it anyways, was man-hating. And my daughter was like, Mom, they were just over-dramatizing. What they were trying to explain to you is that you need to look at it as men and women should be equal. And there should not be this Barbie world where everything's perfect and no problems, no, and then there shouldn't be a man's world where everything's perfect and that men are superior. It needs to be like all together. And the movie just did what movies do, and they over dramatized it.
Right.
I didn't get angry because I think I felt like it's hard for me to say that, like, I haven't in my life per se felt like I've been slighted in any way. I don't consider myself that I went to college and became like a so-called professional, that I had to compete with men. So I don't have room to speak to that. But I always wanted to get married. I always wanted to have kids. I loved playing with babies when I was little. And I never felt like that made me less of a woman or less of a human being. But I can respect that there are several people that do feel that way. So I had a hard time relating to certain aspects of the movie. It was very touching to see when they showed the creator of Barbie basically go back and reminisce about her life and how fast time goes and the different, those kind of things. Is that when they were
showing the montage of all the different people like bringing out Thanksgiving turkey and all like old film? That got me.
And I
did like that part.
Those were such traditional women roles that, oh my gosh, I would never not want to have that.
You are, and I'm not surprised to hear you say any of this because I find you to be a little old fashioned and not in a bad way. It's a good way. I just in general though. If I were to say old family values or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that is some of you.
It's interesting because I'm a very liberal person, very, very liberal in my belief system, but there's something to me, and it probably came from my grandparents, that is very comforting to me to see the role of the mother being the caretaker and the cook and the husband going out and working. And by no means, I feel like everything should be equal at this point, and it's not by no means. But for some reason, to me, that was the core of my childhood and how I grew up.
Well, it makes sense,
and I felt good with it.
Yeah, it makes sense to us as people that grew up with a mom and a dad that went to work, and mom also went to work, but she also had to do everything else. And
I mean, my mom was Barbie. I mean, she literally
looked like Barbie.
She did.
Looked like she wore heels and had little
always
feet.
Looked put together.
Always looked put together. Always had her hair done. Always had her makeup done. Worked a full-time job.
Little rhinestone.
Had 5 kids. Had rhinestones. Had a husband who was also a part-time job, or full-time job. So like everything. I don't know how she did it. And so, but I mean, like, I didn't feel like I lived in the traditional house like you described, even though it was a mother and a father.
But the roles were different.
But it was a little bit different. But he was the boss. But she still seemed to do everything. You know what I mean? Like when you look at it like that, like in my mind, I didn't look at it like that. He was the boss.
Well, my mom
she
was the boss.
second boss. You know, like,
yeah.
I don't know. It just, it made sense. There was a quote that I saved from the CEO who, hilarious.
Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell. But they're running around at this party. He says, no one rests until the doll is back in the box. And I thought that was a good one because I feel like a little bit of that is happening right now.
Absolutely.
With the different political parties, the different thing. We got to shut down all this
get them back in the box.
We got to get
put it in a box and make it all tidy.
Yes, we got to get this back to the way we had it. Nobody rests until we get this back to. We're in charge.
Back under control.
Under control.
Let's get her back under control.
We got to get control of this sitch before anything else gets out of hand. Or, and I'm not saying it's just women that are in the box. It's all kinds of men, women, people.
But as women,
places,
we
whatever.
know.
So,
and men probably, I don't know. Men have no reason to complain, but as women, I just think we see it in a different lens, and I think we're supposed to see it in a different lens. I don't know. I'm not a big, like, when I go to movies, I like to go to movies for like the landscape and the pink and this and that. But that movie in particular was so well written. And so many things were purposefully. I read a few articles about why Ken wore the fur jacket. That went back to Rocky, and it went back to a man being on a pedestal. And like, seriously, every single thing in that movie had a reason for the way that it was written, which I would have never really known had I not read about it. And it made me appreciate it more.
Yeah.
One thing that you just were talking about when you were saying that you grew up and loved to play with
I
baby
did.
dolls and always wanted to be a mom. I can honestly say I never thought that I was going to be a mom. That was nothing. I never thought that I would or wouldn't. It wasn't something I allowed myself to even predict. I think maybe just to save myself, just in case it would hurt my feelings if I thought, oh, it's not going to happen for me. So I just really never even thought about ever having my own kids.
I find that really interesting. Like you really want to dig down deep on why.
Well, I think it's because I didn't want to be disappointed. So if I set myself up as the person that can't have kids or wouldn't get married, so don't have kids, whatever reason, then I couldn't be disappointed when it actually happened.
Yeah.
But it didn't. But my point is, at the beginning of the Barbie movie, I thought was interesting. I had never thought about it this way when they were showing all those little girls playing with their baby dolls. And they were saying that Barbie was the first doll that was not a baby that girls played with. That blew my mind. I'm like,
Never
what?
even crossed my mind.
Maddie brought that to my attention when we were talking about that. Think about it, Mom. Boys could play with anything.
Any age. Yeah.
Any age, anything. They had a variety. Girls were given babies.
What?
And
That went over my head.
and even my girls were given babies. That's what they get on their first birthday. They get a baby to play with.
Yeah.
They get the stroller. They get it was baby. And
But the fact that there wasn't another
I know.
option, and I was like, wait a minute, Barbie was the first doll.
Boys had Legos. They had trucks. They had car. I remember my brothers having like car things.
Yeah.
Girls had babies.
Well, and I think that's one reason that I loved playing at Christmas with my brother's stuff, because it was way more fun to play with. I did get the baby doll in the stroller.
Oh, yeah.
I got the baby that away that crawled, and my sister got baby alive that actually ate stuff and had diapers. And I'm like, well, this seems like work. This is not play. This is not fun. But, Matt had the Hot Wheels track.
That's what I was trying to get out. Yes.
Yeah, or the Evil Knievel, like rev up motorcycle thing
Any
that would jump ramps.
any superhero things.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So you didn't catch that. You didn't.
that baby part versus older dolls. Yeah, it just went over my head. I was tired. I don't know. I was tired. And I want to say that there was a line with Ken where he said, "I just don't know who I am without you," and I found that to be very sad. And I kind of right now feel sorry for straight men, in a sense of, I know you're surprised to hear me say that probably. Go on. In the sense of, there's been a big upheaval in the last however long, I don't even know how long, where other people are finding their place. And again, like I mentioned earlier, somebody has to scoot over for there to be room for everyone.
Yep.
And in the process of scooting over, some of them are getting knocked back. And there's room for everyone, but I feel like these straight men don't know where they fit. And lots of us have not known where we fit for a long time. And that would be the queer community, women, whoever, not knowing where they fit or where they belong. The straight men now who are feeling this feeling is so foreign to them.
True.
That they don't know what to do with it. I think that's a lot of the anger that we see in out in the world, is that they don't know what to do with this anger
because they're afraid.
Because it's fear. It's fear. And like a wave or a fire, fire burns hot and then it has to cool down at some point to have any sustainability. Or a wave that comes along, it's going to have to slow down at some point. You can't just a wave doesn't just keep going like a big wave. It slows down. Mm-hmm. So all of this has to even out at some point or slow down. But in the process, these men they just don't know where they fit.
Well,
and I feel bad because I feel like those who took the time who are just now getting there have had the time to look and learn along the way. And these men are being knocked down and they're blindsided. They never saw it coming. I don't know how they never saw it coming because it's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
But they didn't see it coming. And so now they don't know how to deal with it. And so it's coming out in anger.
Well, I know how they can deal with it.
Okay, you're just going to say deal with it? And I don't disagree, except for they need to learn how. They don't know how.
To communicate. And men haven't always been known to be the best communicators, to talk about their feelings.
And it's not an inability. They haven't tried.
Exactly.
They haven't had to.
We
Correct.
as a world don't sit down and have conversations. It's always, I'm right, you're wrong. There's never the art of discussion and compromise and the ability to voice an opinion.
And understand somebody else's opinion.
I feel like we live in a world where that doesn't even exist.
Well, then let's talk about this. You said, and I see that your point about room at the table, but the straight white men are being challenged. Let's talk about Alan. Alan's a freaking king.
You're married to Alan, right?
I do. Michael Cera. Love Michael Cera.
No, your husband.
My husband, Rob, is Alan.
Oh, he's Alan, yes.
He wears the eyeliner and weird
No, not
vests.
that one.
No, not that.
Not that Alan.
You mean kind of an enlightened, non-macho,
kind,
empathetic
He gets
person.
Yes.
I am. I'm married to Alan. You're right. I didn't think of it that way, but I am.
Yeah.
And Alan is something that I think can be taught.
You were way ahead of the curve here because you didn't teach him.
No, but I'm saying as like mothers.
Okay. Yes.
And mothers of sons.
Yes.
Alan's outlook on people and life is a learned thing.
It is a very even, keeled, rational attitude.
I feel like I have a little Alan. I think that my son Jack is very
Alan-y?
very Alan-y, very empathetic.
Yes.
Not the the masculinity. I'm not. How do you say it? Like
Toxic
masculinity. I don't think Jack has any of that. I think he's a very empathetic. I think he's And I don't. I mean, I guess I can credit myself. I don't know if your DNA is in that, or I think it's rearing. I think it's that, but it's just I think
it's nature and nurture.
it is. But I think that they are rare. Allens are rarer to find.
Well, and I in the movie, it was easy to. I love Michael Cera anyway, so I knew I was going to love Alan. But Alan kind of broke my heart because he just wanted everybody to get along. He liked everybody.
Yeah.
But he didn't know where he fit in. He knew he didn't feel comfortable.
True.
With
being
the
a
macho,
being
a hyper masculine guy.
Because that seemed ridiculous.
Because it is. And then Barbie, of course, all the Barbies were very accepting of him because he treated them
He was
equally.
non-threatening.
Yes. So.
But in the past, when we have referred to a man being non-threatening, that has almost been insulting.
It's been like you're a wimp.
And
that's
how
not
horrible is it that, I mean, honestly, until saying that out loud,
I know.
he's very non-threatening. You know what?
Those are the ones you want to grab up.
When I tell you the number, when I think back to the people that I crushed on in high school or college at different times, or
Always
whatever,
the bad boy.
Always.
dear God, did I have no judgment? Like, honest to goodness. And I don't know what part like society played or yes.
I'm raising my hand
Yes,
for people that
what do you
can't see.
got?
I feel like I was always attracted to the aloof, bad guy, maybe tough guy, maybe, but you would never know because you could never get them to talk because that was my dad. I grew up around a person that was a little aloof.
Hard to
and
figure out.
didn't talk all the time. And I found it to be a challenge. How can I engage dad in conversation? So it's almost like I thought all guys were my dad. And so I was always attracted to the person that was not going to give me a lot of chit chat. Yeah, no time of day. I say, excuse me, sir, what time is it? They're like, no, I'm not telling you. But I did that because that's the kind of man that I knew.
Yes.
So I'm just hoping, we all have sons. I'm hoping we've all raised sons, and I think we have, that are a little bit more graduated than that.
No, I 100% agree on that.
Yeah.
Do you think, Tracy, that like when you think about, do you correlate it with
Your dad?
Your dad? I mean,
Oh, for sure.
Your dad was a tough guy.
Yeah.
He was like, he was
Absolutely.
a union.
We didn't have like discussions about anything that really mattered. I mean, like we talked about Streets of San Francisco because that was our show that we watched simultaneously, not in the same room.
Talk about aloof.
on your two different phone
Upstairs.
lines.
He was in his room and would call me. But I mean, like one time I called home from college and
Oh my God.
I almost brought this story up earlier and we were talking about one of the kids calling home because I called home crying because someone was kind of stalking me. And I was telling
not
the story.
kind of, just say they were.
I was telling the story through tears of screaming. Like I was scared. And he's like, I can't understand you. Do you need me to come get you? And I just wanted to be heard. Like I didn't want anyone to actually drive an hour and a half to me.
Yeah.
I just needed to know that I was safe and for someone to hear me. But I said no. And he said, call back later when your mom's home, and hung up because that was the end of the conversation.
My dad would have done the same thing.
Either let me fix it or shut the hell up was kind of how,
Yeah, like,
how
don't
that
make me
conversation
feel it.
went. He didn't say those words, but that was kind of how it went. And you know what? That was not fair of me to do because
How dare you think your dad should listen to you?
Well, it wasn't something we did. So I really was asking him to step outside something that he was good at. And again, just like in the Ken movies things, they don't, if they don't have those skills and they've not done it, and then we say do it, they're like,
How?
no, I don't know how to do this, so I'm going to get mad because
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
And now I look stupid because I can't do it.
Well, speaking of looking stupid,
Yes.
there were many scenes in the Barbie movie that made me cackle out loud, kind of embarrassingly loud, which I'm sure you both
They're probably
understand.
all
how.
with Ryan
Go on.
Gosling too. But
Well, the two scenes in particular, one when they were rollerblading, when he said, I got my rollerblades right here. Like I never travel without them or whatever. And I was like, okay, he's so good. He's just funny. And the other scene that I was like crying laughing was the scene where they were sitting around in a circle and they were all singing Push by Matchbox 20. And they said, and the girls sat there and then but like 4 hours later and they were still singing.
Still singing it because they were so proud of themselves learning that one song. And the girls had to look like they cared.
Yeah, looked like they were just enwrapped with whatever
Yes.
they were doing. I laughed so loud because all I thought was, I don't know. I was kind of a sucker for a guy that could sing and play an
yes.
instrument. I
I'm an
got
idiot.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
oh God, yes. No matter how cringy it was, if somebody made you a mixtape or maybe like wrote you a song, you had me. I could not have related more to the comedic part of the movie more than the weird Barbie because my sister and I were 5 years apart, but we did when we got a little bit older. I probably played Barbies too long in life. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I break them out, reenact Joe and I know, but. Like arguments or something.
Okay.
But so I did. I played. Well, didn't you like in late grade school? We always had like high school reunion, like where Barbies, like our Barbies
God,
would be like,
no.
this is so and so, and this is so and so, and this is really probably played too long.
How do you think that's normal?
I didn't even know what a high school reunion was when I played with Barbies.
Probably too long. I'm not
She's
gonna
so
lie.
hard at herself.
It's embarrassing. I'm letting that out. But I was the mean Barbie sister who destroyed my Barbies that I didn't care for, and then made my sister play with all the weird Barbies. I mean,
Did you cut their hair?
oh God, yes. Yes, and my daughters are 3 years apart, and Maddie and Mary, I saw it with a wide variety. We went with cousins, so I'm talking. We were like the fifth grade was the youngest, and then 50 something was the oldest, and they were all cackling about that's what you did when you got mad. Like you're not having the good Barbie. No, cut her hair up, like this and that. And I thought Kate McKinnon. Oh, good God,
she was born for that.
She was born for that. So
they are actually going to release, which they might have
read
already
that.
sold out.
I know.
A weird Barbie
Well, it made me not like Mattel enough to not buy anything from them ever again.
because they're playing into what we want.
yeah.
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 And it's all men probably doing it. So, one thing that I laughed about, because I did love Weird Barbie. Back in my day, we didn't necessarily have Weird Barbie, but we did have like the first disabled Barbie because there was one Barbie that the dog got and chewed off most of its hand.
Amputee Barbie is not a thing.
Barbie.
No.
No, it was in 1977 right there at our house. So I'd be like, oh, I'm not playing with that. I'm not playing with disabled Barbie. I want the pretty one that has a full hand. So there would be a lot of things, a lot of arguments between me and my older sister about who got stuck with old one-handed Barbie. Give me one quote that I loved from Ken was when he said when he figured out that the patriarchy wasn't about horses, he lost interest.
But don't they still kind of think that? I don't know.
The horse thing all went back to the Rocky thing. Like there's this picture of Rocky, like early, like the first Rocky with his fur jacket on, and like the backdrop is like, I was reading this article, and that is why she used horses as the theme. It's because it's such, I think horses, like, I don't know. I don't think of like masculinity when I think of horses. I don't know why. I just don't. But I think that's a very masculine driven thing. And that's why the theme of it was horses from what I read. I just, God, it made me laugh so hard.
Oh. Did you have another quote from the movie that you'd like to share?
I have a couple.
Okay.
One is when Barbie said, I would never wear heels if my feet were shaped like this. I hate heels so much. I wore tennis shoes to my own wedding because my dress was to the ground. Like wearing heels, I just, no act of God. Like I don't even know what it would take.
They're awful. And some people
and wear them and look great. Nope. I never could.
Well,
but I thought that line about I would never wear heels if my feet were shaped like this, I think was supposed to make us think, why are we wearing heels when our feet aren't shaped the opposite way?
Yeah, it meant it when she took them off and her feet were perfect, like, yeah.
Well, it makes me wonder, and I didn't do any research on this, but who developed the high heel? Was it a man? To make a lady's legs look better?
Sleeker and probably.
Okay, I don't even know if that's true, but I'm mad about it. So
let's just blame the men.
So I'm just going to get mad and say it was some white privileged man that made high heels all the rage.
What was the other one?
Want another quote?
Yeah.
Okay. We have to always be extraordinary, but somehow we're always doing it wrong.
Wasn't that like the big America Ferrera
Gloria
monologue?
Yes.
It hit.
I know, and as much as I didn't want it to hit because, like, it was just like, oh, I am woman, hear me roar, which sometimes I don't know. Tracy's going to make fun of me.
I'm not making fun of you.
I am pro-woman. Do not get me wrong. I kind of get tired sometimes of some of the overzealous feminism. Sure. The same way that I get tired of the overzealous masculinity.
Yes.
So her speech, I had read about it before. I had even probably read the whole thing before because I saw it kind of late in the game. It spoke to me. I mean, it truly, truly spoke to me. Like, we're expected
to do everything.
When you, just as an example, nobody prepares you, for those of us that have had babies, for when you come home from the hospital. Nobody prepares you. They guide you all through your pregnancy. You go to the doctor, blah, 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 blah. That first week that you're home alone with the baby, you're expected to know everything. And you're expected to know how to keep that baby alive, breathing, happy, healthy. We're expected to know it all. And at that, like, I'm getting teary-eyed thinking about it because it's such an enormous amount of pressure put on women.
I got more instruction when I had a sinus infection than when I was taking home Sam from the hospital. And I had no idea.
Yeah, it's just you have the weight.
Like,
and men play a role in that. I'm not saying that they don't. But traditionally, it's all about the mother and America.
And you're supposed to be able to figure it out.
Yeah, I love that quote.
Yeah.
Well, I think, was that the same monologue that she said, like, being a woman is impossible?
Yes.
And those were the reasons why, like, you're expected to do everything and know everything, but not know too much. It was like,
yes, but do this, but not that.
Be funny, but not too funny.
But not too funny. Everything's a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
It's so true.
Yeah. Yes, the impossibility of being a woman. I felt that. Like I said, I agree with Kim. I don't feel like I'm ultra feminist, but as time goes on, and I'm made more aware of exactly how much I don't have control.
And especially through
Do
our
you
daughters.
hear how
you
both
see
of you say ultra feminist with an air of negativity?
Well, like in the
I'm just curious.
No,
And I'm
I
not
do.
judging.
well, I just don't know. I don't know if
Because like Kim just said ultra feminist and
Like,
likened it to ultra masculinity. But I don't think they're the same thing.
They're not the
Because
same.
one is trying to gain footing and the other is trying to
Keep somebody
exert over the top. Like I feel like one is trying to claw up and the other is stepping on the hands that's clawing.
right.
I know. I think
In my opinion.
sometimes I need to be told and to look at it through a different
And
perspective.
I do a lot of what you're doing. So I'm
No, and I don't think I respect what you're saying. I don't hear myself saying it, but when it's brought to my attention, then I realize that's what I'm saying.
like when I hear you talk about motherhood, I hear the empowered, fierce, go to the ends of the earth. You get how important it is that job has been given to you. Like you speak of that part of being a woman with so much power or reverence, for lack of a better term, but not you as a female.
I know you're right. I
don't know.
I don't know
I'm
why.
just saying that there's a difference. I don't know what my point is. Other
Yeah,
than to point
I don't
it
know.
out to you.
You're
That's interesting.
You're
I
right
didn't even
because
realize I said it.
from the moment I knew what it was to be a mother, I've never wanted anything so badly, and I don't know why. I had a good mother, but I don't always think that I add up as being a woman, and I struggle with that to this day, and I probably will for always. So,
But whose judgment?
I don't know. Mine.
Yours?
All right.
And the movie
I'm
did. It
asking
brought up, the
questions.
movie brought up, I mean, I probably
Yeah.
could see that again and even see it in a deeper. I think I don't allow myself to
Right.
really focus on, like you said, it just made you so mad. I tried not to let it make me so mad.
Yeah.
I kind of went for the fun of it, but then certain things spoke to me and I
Poked
was
you,
like,
yeah.
God, this movie was written like really, like she knew what she was talking about type thing.
And like for me as a mom, I feel like I knocked it out of the ballpark. I feel like I am the best mom that ever walked on the face of the earth.
You are.
Oh no, I don't think I am the best mom, but that's how I feel about myself in that role.
But that's an
now I
awesome-
wouldn't say that about being a wife. I wouldn't say that about being a teacher. I was
Yeah.
a good enough teacher for sure.
Yeah.
Or about like maybe even female in general. I don't know that I've done enough for the cause. I wasn't down for the cause enough. So there are lots of parts of it that I didn't, and do we have to pick? Can we just do some good enough?
We just can't do it all, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that my mom did bring up on her way out of the movie when she said she got nothing out of it except that it was cute and she loves Ryan Gosling, she said something interesting. She said, yeah, it's just because the women have the babies. That's why things are the way they are. And if men would be the people that had the babies, everything would be so much different.
Oh, I'm glad that God chose us.
No, I'm glad to do it too. But she's saying all of this dates back, like all of the misogyny and men do everything was because the women were busy having all their children.
But now women have the children and do all the other stuff.
Yes.
Make it make sense.
I don't know. My mom's point was if men had babies instead of women,
It would be very different.
it would be all different. The way we work as a society would be completely different. If
Well, yeah, I would because the roles would be completely reversed. I mean,
But reversed in what way?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, it's-
what are women? I mean, women go out and work.
yeah, I know. It would be
they
very
have families
interesting
without
to
the
see an
men.
alternate world,
we'll ask
I mean,
Greta
I get-
Gerwig to
I
make
get
that next
early
movie.
on, the men did the work and brought home and did the financial whatever, but it's not like that anymore. So now what? Like what?
What gives?
Now that you're not doing your share, what's or is it each family? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
There's no answer, but I just thought it was an interesting way to think about it. I'm like, well,
I had
Mom.
another couple quotes, and I'm going to read them just to get them out there.
Okay, let's hear it.
I didn't quote it. I took it off the internet. I'm acting like I did it myself. Hold on here. Okay, not that one. Sorry. Okay, this one. This one I saw an argument online in a group that I'm in.
Okay.
And it was the quote, "We mothers stand still so our daughters can look back to see how far they have come." And some mothers really took offense to the idea that we stood still. To me, I don't think that I don't take offense to that. I don't know what the answer is as far as like,
What do you mean stand still? We've been working our asses off.
well, that's what some
Yeah, I-
moms
yeah, I
really,
never-
really took that. I didn't like that quote because they didn't like the idea of us standing still so that they could see
So
where
we could
they
wave
go.
to them and they could see us?
I guess.
I don't get it.
I don't know. Because if we were, I don't know.
I think that quote could have been taken as that they didn't do anything other than just birth you, and that they did, you know what I mean? Like the women that maybe were college educated and professional women, and like, hey, I didn't stand still. Like, I worked my butt off to give you what you have. It can be taken both ways. I mean,
Yeah.
I think you could look at it as that stand still as far as I brought you this far. Look back behind and look at me and know
And see how far you
see
come.
how far you can go.
Is it easy? Can you judge how far you've gone if the person that you came from is moving forward too?
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. It's a weird
It was a
quote.
weird quote.
That is a weird quote. You could
But there
really
was a lot of big discussion on it. And then the other one that I liked was that humans only have one ending. Ideas live forever.
I like that too.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
And the other quote that I loved was, and this isn't the quote because I don't have it in front of me, so I don't really know exactly what it was, but she's like something like, when Barbie was saying, "Do you guys ever think about dying?" And all the other Barbies were like,
Oh, I'm
No.
that Barbie right
Yeah.
there. Yes, I think about it every day.
"Yes, anxious Barbie, I'm with you." I just thought that was interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, that she lived in such a fake world.
Yes.
That you weren't allowed to feel things.
Yeah, you just had to go to the pool.
But that's what this Ruth said at one part was when they were talking about the dying. And she said, yeah, humans only have one ending. Like that's
And her
dying is
idea,
gonna
look at her
happen.
idea.
But ideas can go on forever. So what are you going to do with the time that you have here?
Yeah.
What ideas are you going to leave?
Yep.
Well, we've left this podcast, and I feel like we've done our part.
Yeah, so that was more emotional, more emotional this Barbie movie than even when I was sitting through it. It was just bringing up and just thinking about it in a deeper, having different perspectives instead of just my own. It's interesting. I hope that people that are listening, that they haven't seen it, it's going to be on demand here soon enough. It's
Yeah.
it is. There's a lot of corniness to it, and
It's
it's
hilarious,
fun.
yes.
and
It's cute.
It's cute, but it really is for men and women.
Yes.
I'm going to say this. It's worth seeing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'd like I said, Lillian, I'd like for my son.
yeah,
to see
Jack
it.
wants. Yeah, my son said I'd watch it.
I mean, he doesn't like to watch movies at all, but
My son saw it.
Yeah, I mean,
He's gay.
doesn't matter. I know straight men. Think of how many boyfriends got tagged along.
yeah,
So-
That's true.
No, but I think it's worth the discussion.
It is worth the discussion.
and it's an interesting discussion when you combine some generations.
Yes,
so
it is.
Yep.
Everyone, get grandma, get Nana, and the kids, and get out there and see Barbie.
Excellent.
Thanks so much for joining us today as we talked about Barbie. Hope that you go out and see the movie and give us your thoughts on it as well. And we'll see you next time on Up for Grabs.